Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. You just got through listening to Tarika Foster Brasby talk about the Indianapolis Colts offense. But of course, we can't talk about the offense and just leave out the defense now. And, I want to bring in another guy that knows a lot about the Colts, can tell you the ins and outs of them. He is the host of the Drop Balls podcast and owner of King's Ransom clothing line, Chris Lewis II. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, man? Thank you for having me on again tonight, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I couldn't talk about the Colts and not bring you in, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, it was a star defense last year in terms of their performance, but different year, different team. It's 2021, so without further ado, let's talk a little bit about the Colts defense. I got a few questions for you.
All right.
Let's see. Of course, the Colts defense was solid except for the pass rush on the outside. Is Kwity Paye the answer for you all in that area?
I'm hoping so because, like you said, last year the pass rush it wasn't atrocious, but it just wasn't there. And we lost Autry this off season. He went to the Titans, so I'm hoping Kwity Paye can get us something like him and DeForest Buckner in the middle and all of that. I'm hoping Kwity Paye can at least get us. I would say I would be cool with 7 sacks in his rookie year if he could at least do that for us.
Gotcha. That's so meeting expectations would be 7 sacks for him.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing with him, I know he didn't have a lot of production at Michigan, but I mean, when you get to the league and all you have to do is focus on football, you don't have to focus on school, you don't have to focus on anything else, just football and your family or whatever. But just that, I think it'll be a lot better for him.
Gotcha. Now, speaking of DeForest Buckner, of course, he had a great first year in Indianapolis. He was the man in the middle. He got it done. He basically, held it down inside, and he was a handful for every team's offense. I mean, of course, you can tell the difference when for example, when they played the Titans, they were, they held their own the first time he was there. Second time when he wasn't there, they did their thing. The Titans did. So, do you think he can keep up the pace he started out with his first year in Indianapolis?
Yeah, I think he can. I mean, this has been a thing for him for his whole career, right? So last year he had 9.5 sacks. I think the most he ever had with San Francisco was 12. So I think he can continue the pace that he's had with the Colts. And like I said, adding Kwity Paye, and then if the other guy, I forget his name, he probably won't play until like halfway through the season. But the other guy we drafted, I think from Vanderbilt or Wake Forest, one of them black and gold teams.
Yeah, that'd be Vanderbilt.
Yeah. So I think with them two, and then also, like I said, with Kwity Paye for sure throughout the beginning of the season, DeForest Buckner be able to get some stuff done this season. I mean, he's an anchor in the middle, and dude is a beast.
I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting to watch how he does. And, I'll say this, when he left the 49ers to come to play for the Colts, a lot of 49ers fans were probably wishing that it wasn't him leaving, but it was Eric Armstead leaving. But they kind of notice now that Buckner has given the real deal. And as far as not Kwity Paye, but Eric Armstead, he's solid, but he's not that star quality solid. I don't think when it comes to that.
Yeah.
So you got the right guy via trade.
Basically. Yeah, we did, especially if we were sending the 16th overall pick for somebody. I want to get someone like Buckner and not Armstead.
Gotcha. Okay, now we're gonna move to the linebackers, and of course we can't not talk about the linebackers and not talk about Darius Leonard. I think he's an incredible linebacker, and I think he's the one that him and Fred Warner of the 49ers are two linebackers that do not get talked about enough to me. But How would you say he needs to grow as a linebacker for the Colts this year?
For me, it'll just be remaining healthy. I think when you look at his game, when you look at him, he really is like an all-around linebacker. His play recognition is amazing. He's solid on in pass defense, pass coverage, and then he comes up and stops the run. I mean, when you look at the seasons he's had, I believe he's only been in the league 3 years. So you look at his first season, he led the league in tackles, solo and combined. He led the league, and he only played 15 games. Second season, I think he played 13 games. He was 17th in the league through 13 games. And then last year he played, I think it was 14 games last year, and he was like seventh, or not seventh, probably like fifth or something in the league last year. So I think really, to me, all he needs to do is just stay healthy. If he can stay healthy, the sky's the limit for Darius Leonard, for real.
Do you think he can improve in leadership role of this defense, or do you think that's already established?
Um, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say, especially not being in the locker room. I mean, because on the field, he looks like he is the leader of that defense. But again, like I said, it's kind of hard to say when you're not in the locker room with them and seeing actually how they interact or what he does. But I mean, he looks like he's vocal. He looks like he tries to lead the guys and everything. So I really can't tell you on that one.
Gotcha. Okay, now of course we know about Leonard, but who else needs to step up with that linebacker core?
So with the linebackers, like we're very young at the linebacker position. Of course, Darius Leonard is one of them, but then our middle linebacker is I don't even know how to say his last name, but Bobby. I don't want to butcher his last name, so I ain't even gonna say it. And then we have that's our middle linebacker, and then our strong side linebacker is Zaire Franklin. So they're both, I think, Bobby may be like 2 years in the league, or this may be his third year, and Zaire may be going on his fourth year, something like that, or it might be opposite. But they both got to continue to produce, and they got to expand their game. They're decent, but they're gonna have to do more. I mean, Darius Leonard is definitely the best linebacker we have. So one of them had to step up this season and claim that second spot.
Gotcha. Yeah, definitely going to need more linebackers than Darius Leonard because he, like you said, he can't play every position.
Exactly.
He needs some help. He's got to need. It's kind of like when we're talking about it's kind of like the NBA Finals. You got Giannis out there, and you can't have him being Batman and Robin. You got to have Robin out
there. You got to have Robin out there with him as well.
So, as far as let's see. So the linebacker core, of course, there's some questions there, and of course, defensive line, there's some questions there. But there's also some questions when it comes to the defensive backfield. Now, one guy in particular is veteran Xavier Rhodes. He's back again on a 1-year deal.
Yep.
The question I have for you is how much do you think he has left in the tank?
I think Xavier Rhodes would be solid for us for another year. Last year he was pretty decent. My bad, my son's still making noise. But last year he was pretty decent for us. Definitely was our number one cornerback, but he played all 16 games too. So I think he just really needed a change of scenery from Minnesota and everything. So I think he'll be solid for another year. And I think he only signed a 1-year deal because that big TV deal goes into place next year or whatever, or 2022 season or something like that. And so that's when everybody want to collect their money. But I think he probably got at least a good 3-4 more years left in him. He's like 31 right now, so he got at least a good few years left in him.
So you don't see his play decreasing at all or anything?
It's definitely been on decline, which is why Minnesota wanted to let him go. But I just think in our defense, I think he's been solid for us on defense as our number one corner. And I mean, one of the things I wanted us to address in the draft was the cornerback position. And I'm not sure we did. If I remember correctly, I don't think we did. But that was one of the things for sure I wanted us to address in the draft, just because I don't know if Xavier Rhodes can continue, like if he'll play all 16 games this year like he did last year or whatnot. So, but I mean, he's definitely at the end of his, like coming towards the end of his career. That's why I say it's like 4 more years left.
Gotcha. Now, another question I have for you: do you eventually see him playing safety?
If he wants to prolong his career, yeah, I'm always for corners, especially like the good corners. I'm always good for them, or I'm always want them to go to safety. So like even with Richard Sherman, I would always say like, hey, if you switch to safety, he could prolong his career because it's less you have to do, really.
Gotcha.
So if he wants to prolong his career and play maybe 6 more years, then yeah, switching to safety would definitely be a good move for him.
Gotcha.
Not for us though, because we got some pretty solid safeties back there. So
Definitely. Now we know about Xavier Rhodes. We know of his abilities. We know the things that he's done over his career. On the other side, there seems to be some questions. You got a few younger guys over there that are still trying to find their footing in the NFL. Now, which one of them steps up is going to be key to their season, to the season for the Colts as well. Because you can't throw at Xavier Rhodes and then not look at the other side and be like, okay, we can go with him. So
yeah.
do you think one of those guys steps up that's over there, and do you have anybody in mind?
So last year, Kenny Moore stepped up for us. He was pretty solid last year. Once again, this is why I want us to address corner in the draft, because behind Kenny Moore, we got Rocky Sin, and Rocky Sin's not that good. And so I think Kenny Moore would be the second option. But the thing that I'm against with him is he's only like 5'9", so he's pretty short at the cornerback position, especially now as receivers are getting taller. Outside receivers are averaging about 6'2" to 6'4". So that's going to be hard for him. But he stepped up. He did step up last year as the second option at corner. So I'm good with him staying there. Just want us to address corner in the future, so that way our defense can stay solid.
All right. Yeah. Well, definitely some things to think about when it comes to all three different levels. But for you, what's a realistic expectation for the Colts defense?
So the Colts defense last year was I think we were like top 10 last year. I expect us to be back there. I think top 10 should be realistic. Really, for me, it depends on health. But I think top 10 should be realistic for me, for us to be top 10. Now, we ain't got to be like the fifth or whatever, the fifth best defense. But as long as we're in that top 10, I think that's attainable. Yeah, I think that's attainable for us, as long as no injuries and as long as Xavier Rhodes ain't just fell off the cliff completely.
Those careers can definitely be playing well, and all of a sudden the next minute can't find it. So.
Exactly. The next minute, like they play well one season, then the next season is like what happened? Like it was just
right.
It was just 6 months ago you was playing tremendous. Now we can't find you. We can't pick you out of lineup. So
yeah, the truest definition of it was all good just a week ago. So as far as the Colts, how do you realistically see them doing this year?
So as far as this season, I definitely see the AFC South is between the Colts and the Titans. That's how I see it. Now, depending on if we can beat out the Titans for the AFC South crown, I don't know. Just because I think the Titans got a lot better. But for the Colts, I could definitely see us going 11-6. I think we were 11-5 last year, adding the extra game. I think 11-6. There's a possibility for 12-5. You never know, but I think somewhere in there is where we'll be.
Gotcha. And for those that aren't aware, how did you become a Colts fan? Pretty sure everyone wants to hear this story. You are from Florida, so
yep. Jacksonville or specifically. So just because growing up in Florida, everybody in the area that I grew up, I'm from Jacksonville, so everybody, of course, was a Jaguars fan. Me always having to go against the grain. That's just who I am. I became a fan of the team that nobody really liked in Jacksonville. So for me, it was the Colts. I like Peyton Manning. He's amazing quarterback, one of the all-time greats. So I just picked the Colts to be my team, and since then, that's who I've been rocking with through thick and thin, even through the 1-15 season we had when Peyton got hurt.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, we've definitely wrapped up the defense. You gave us a little bit more insight on the defense and what's your thoughts on how they perform. Just want to thank you for coming on, and also just want to give you the floor to give everybody where they can reach out to you, what all stuff you're working on, talk about the clothing line, which I mentioned earlier, King's Ransom. But go ahead and talk about everything, man. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so you all can find me on Twitter at DropBallsPod. My podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, all of those. Just type in Drop Balls Podcast and you'll find me. It's a picture of Tom Brady dropping a pass in the Super Bowl. So that's where y'all can find me at. Like I said, Twitter is at Drop Balls Pod. And as far as the clothing line, I'm not wearing anything right now, but it is King's Ransom, KRathletics.com. I wanted to start kind of like an athletic brand, athleisure brand, something you can just chill out in, sweats, stuff, hoodies, all of that. And also something you can work out in that's comfortable enough to work out in, something that's comfortable enough to just chill at home in. Being a former athlete, that's always how I'm dressed. I got sweatpants on, a hoodie, t-shirt, whatever, unless I'm going to work. But other than that, I'm usually just in athleisure apparel pretty much. And now it's mostly my apparel. But but I am coming out with some Drop Balls merch, some hoodies and crew necks and t-shirts. So be looking out for that here soon. But yeah, I mean that's all for my stuff, man.
I got an idea for you with the Drop Balls merch.
What's up?
Take that, put the picture of Tom Brady dropping the pass, and send it to Tom Brady and see what happens. I bet it'll blow up, man. I think it'll blow up.
I will. I'll see if I can reach out to Tom Brady. I do have somebody. I actually just sent some stuff from King's Ransom to Darrington Evans in Tennessee. So hopefully we'll see him in some of that here soon.
I'm gonna have to reach out to the somebody I know over there and see if we see some of that work.
For sure.
Showing up around the Titans camp.
For sure, man.
Well, again, man, thank you for coming on, and we're gonna wrap up the show after this.
No problem. Thanks for having me, man.